Right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone that will well, and Shalom to you, Akim, that be pushing this word around the globe in faith and in with truth and in sincerity. This is the brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Camp. As always, I like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other 17 nations, because Israel as a people has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible who was named Jacob, then later named Israel, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like, because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. Okay? So I've got a funny ass article here that I saw. I haven't actually read this article yet, but the title was too funny. So Lord willing, I'll be able to turn this into an edifying lesson. So let's see what it says. This is from the Sun newspaper here in the UK. It says, "Dear Deirdre, I've fallen for my favourite girlfriend." That wasn't a slip of the tongue. I said that on purpose, because a lot of you women are behaving like prostitutes. You know, you're calling yourselves women, but you're anything but. You know, you're behaving like harlots and prostitutes. So you're committing a lot of adultery and you're getting away with it. You know, like butter wouldn't melt in your mouth. But guess what? The Most High sees and is going to bring all these things into judgment. So let's read this. It says, "Dear Deirdre, I've fallen for my favourite prostitute, and I hope she'll start to feel the same." Now, ain't that the mantra of a simp right there? So this was published on 13th of January. What are we at today? I believe we're at the 18th today. It's a few days ago. It says, "Dear Deirdre, I came out of a long-term relationship just before COVID arrived, and the last year hasn't exactly been ideal for getting out and meeting someone new. It's kind of hard to meet new people when everybody's socially distanced and wearing face masks, isn't it? And what does that ultimately lead to? Well, if fewer people are getting involved in relationships, that means fewer people are going to be having sex, so fewer people will be bringing forth children. And wouldn't that be conducive to Esau's depopulation agenda? Nah, I guess I'm reading too much into it. Surely, the fact that people are walking around in face masks and are scared to stand less than 2 meters away from each other, that surely couldn't have an effect on birth rates, could it? Could it? Of course it could, because Esau's not a dummy. But you people who are simple out there are. You don't see how to connect the dots. But Lord willing, this will be edifying. So it says, "Dear Deirdre, I came out of a long-term relationship just before COVID arrived. And the last year hasn't exactly been ideal for getting out and meeting someone new. I started feeling really lonely, and I have a high sex drive." No. You started feeling lonely and you got a lust demon on you. So I just had to do something. I just had to commit adultery. I must have her. It's too funny, man. I started feeling really lonely and I have a high sex drive, so I just had to do something. And now I've got into the habit of paying for sex. Well, we've all done it. In the sense that even when you're not dealing with a prostitute, you know, if you take a girl out for dinner and you pay for it, what are you really paying for? If you buy a girl a nice, some nice clothes or nice earrings or a nice gift, what are you paying for? Ultimately, it's all about the box. Now, the women will try and act like it ain't, but it is. And everybody knows it, but nobody wants to be honest and admit it, because, you know, your parents told you that girls are all sugar and spice and all things nice, and you have to be nice to girls, and you have to be chivalrous, and you should never hit a girl, and you can't do this and you can't do that. All these bullshit rules that these women have hidden behind for years to mask their own filthy, vile, nasty, deplorable, wicked ways. But now, guess what? The skirt's being lifted. So let's keep going. That's enough interjection from me. Let me pull the article out and see what it's going into. So you've got a man with his supposedly prostitute woman, which is just a stock photograph. Obviously, it's not the real man who's written this message, but hey, it's a handy photo, huh? I started feeling really lonely during lockdown and got into the habit of paying for sex. I am 34 and take care of my appearance. I normally don't ever have problems attracting women, but I'm a restaurant manager and have been furloughed. I live in a shared house with 3 other men and normally wouldn't have ever gone down this road. In the last year, I've been with 5 different hookers. You got a taste and got hooked. There's a reason why they're called hookers, because you got hooked. I don't go with prostitutes who work the streets. So what difference does it make? I found women in brothels or who work from their own houses in my home city. I feel pretty ashamed, but the sex is really good, and soon I got used to the routines. In the beginning, I told myself it was easier than getting emotionally involved. But I have to admit, I've been missing everything else that it takes to make a relationship. The chats about rubbish, the cuddles, the friendship. I told myself that I would only do it once or twice, then that I would only go with hookers until I could have a relationship. But now I've started paying my favourite prostitute for more time. We always used to meet in her flat, but now she comes to mine. Well, doesn't that sound like a so-called relationship? I'm hoping that she will start to fall for me as I am for her. SIMP. I'm going to pull out the Urban Dictionary in a minute, man, because SIMP, dude, simping, man. And he's going to be caught slipping. She's the fittest out of all 5, and I could see her socializing with my friends and fitting in. It's too funny, man. We have sex and then settle down to watch TV and have a snuggle on the sofa for an extra hour. I'm sure this is all being paid for, though. But she never... What did I just say? But she never stays for a second longer than I have paid her for. Yes. But she never stays for a second longer than I have paid her for. I am hoping that she will start to fall for me as I am for her and want her to stay longer. How can I persuade her to stay? Pay more money. Now let's get the definition of simp, man. This is too funny. Let's see what we're going to do. Let's just, yeah. All right. So this is a good old trusty Urban Dictionary. Let's type in simp. Something that no man should ever be happy to be. We've all been there, but you've got to grow out of it, man. Simp. Someone who does way too much for a person they like. Brian, Shu, the simp. I bought her a car and a whole ass. A whole ass house, and we're not even dating. Isn't that the definition of what I just read? It says, simp, a person who does way too much for a person they like. Brian, Shu, the simp. I bought her a car and a whole ass house, and we are not even dating. You're a simp. What other definitions have you got here? Let's get into it. Yeah, simp. A man who puts hoes before the bros. Ben is a major simp for ditching us for those hoes. Simp. Yeah, simp, a word that everyone overuses without the correct definition. It means a guy that is overly desperate for women, especially if she is a bad person or has expressed her disinterest in him, whom he continues to obsess over. They're usually just virgins that will accept coochie from anyone regardless of who they are. Simp. This is a beautiful definition. Suckers idolizing mediocre pussy. Some male who will do anything for a little bit of play from a female. He usually chasing around a female who's not even worth the work or time. Simp. Next definition. That's not it. Yeah, here we go. Simp as verb, to express great appreciation for someone to the point of putting them on a pedestal, can be used in both platonic and or in a romantic sense. Person 1, I'm so lonely. I really want someone to simp. Well, there's this one person who's just your type. Ah, don't worry. Whatever. Yeah, those are definitions, but there's one. Yeah. But that basically covers it. Let's get simping. Simping, when you infatuate over women, allowing them to take over your mind and cause you to do things for them that you wouldn't normally do. Simping, a male overly catering for the exaggerated emotions of a woman. A man saying things to a woman that he does not believe, but only saying them because he thinks that she wants to hear them. A man tearing down another man just to gain points with females. It's funny shit, man. Simping is the art of trying to act like you're a girl's boyfriend when you don't really even know her, when she already has a boyfriend, or when she's explicitly stated she is not interested in you romantically. The simp convinces himself that he is more important than he actually is, and that he is sexually desirable. And that he is sexually desirable to his person of obsession. Yeah, it is nothing but delusion. But you bet your ass he will do anything and everything for his person of obsession, especially if she has a boyfriend, which is adultery. If she's got a boyfriend, the simp goes into full competition mode and sets himself out to prove he does things for her shitty boyfriend would never do. So true. For his efforts, the simp receives almost nothing in return from the person he has targeted, and rightfully so. Simps spend their money, time, and life giving everything to someone who gives them nothing in return, except maybe a little attention every now and then, just to keep them on the hook. That's so true. Also, this is really important. Some women are aware of the simps in her life, and some aren't. It all depends on the situation, so don't automatically assume every single female has a horde of simps that she's using to pay her rent, car insurance with every month. However, if she is aware of her simps and has not cut them out completely, then you bet your ass she is entertaining them ever so slightly to be able to get what she wants out of them. More power to her though. You go, girl. It's a sweet fucking deal. Jason is simping hardcore, bro. He's giving Gabby rides to and from work every day, and he spent $250 on her birthday present. She even told him that her boyfriend forgot to get her a present, and that's the last thing he needed to know because now he's convinced himself he actually has a chance. Sorry, man, this is too funny. Simping, feeling emotional in a gloomy sense, usually about an unrequited love. You know. I've got to read this one, man. Simping. To simp, tricking, groveling, or basically letting females walk all over you for no apparent reason other than your own bitch madeness. Oh, man. Alright, let's get back to the point of this lesson now. Back to this, and then we'll get into the scriptures, Lord willing. But yeah, it's real, man. This dude's simping for his some prostitute. So what does this so-called Deirdre say? Deirdre says, I hate to pour cold water on your fantasies, but you need to be realistic. She's doing her job and doesn't sound in the slightest interested in spending any time with you if she isn't being paid to do so. You need to have a serious talk and ask her what she wants. But remember, sex risks spreading coronavirus. Oh man, this is too funny. But remember, sex risks spreading coronavirus. If she isn't interested in a relationship, you must stop seeing her and other sex workers. My leaflet, feeling lonely will help. While we can't socialize as normal, there are a few safe ways to form new friendships. Oh man. What do the scriptures say? I do believe the scriptures say that a whore is a deep ditch. Let me find that. Yeah, that would be Proverbs chapter 23, verse 27. And there's so many good ones, man. It says, for Proverbs 23 to verse 26, my son, give me thine heart and let thine eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in wait as for prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. Who hath woe, who hath sorrow, who hath contentions, who hath babbling, who have wounds without cause, who have redness from eyes. They that tarry long at the wine, and that go to seek mixed wine. That goes on to something else. What was I going to look for? Proverbs, is it 6? Yeah. Proverbs 6 and 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, and neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and an adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth to his neighbour's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold, and shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonour shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. Now I need to put this out there. There are some brothers who will deal with prostitutes. Personally, it's not something that I will do. But there are brothers who will do that, and it is lawful, but at the same time, it's not necessarily expedient. And it's not necessarily wise because, as the scriptures say, a whore is a deep ditch. And if you fall into that trap, you might never crawl out of it, But Esau's set the world up to be the way it is. So it's very difficult for people to actually meet a woman who is still a virgin, because a lot of women have become whores in this society, which is a sad thing. But at the end of the day, the scriptures also say you've got to mortify your members, so you need to be able to control yourself to a certain extent. The scriptures also say that a man with no control over his spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. You know what I mean? So you've got to be strong in this. Let me read this. Proverbs chapter 7, chapter. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law is the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. For at the window of my house I looked out of my casement. And behold, among the simple ones I discerned, among the youths, a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner. And he went the way to her house, in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Now she is without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face she said unto him, I have peace offerings with me this day, I have paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. For I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, and with carved works, and with fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For the good man is not at home. He is gone on a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come at the day appointed. But with her much fair speech she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips she forced him. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird that hasteth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me thou therefore, O ye children, and attend unto the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray into her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. No joke. No joke. See, Proverbs 11:16. A gracious woman retaineth honour, and strong men retain riches. Yeah. Proverbs 12:1. Whoso loveth instruction loveth knowledge, but he that hateth reproof is brutish. A good man attaineth favour of Yahweh, but a man of wicked devices will he condemn. A man shall not be established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous shall not be moved. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. Yeah, man. A wicked woman is the portion given unto a wicked man. Let's get that. Yeah, Sirach 20, 26 and 23. I think I might end it here. Yeah, let's get this. Sirach 26 and 22. A harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. A dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. A woman that honoureth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoureth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. There you go. I think I've made the point on this lesson. At the end of the day, you know, each brother's got a different portion. You know, some guys can deal with prostitutes and be okay. Other brothers, it could be a stumbling block and a snare. You know, me personally, I don't do that because that's just not what my spirit is vibing to. You know, I wait patiently on the Lord instead, man. Rather have it in righteousness than to get all the snares and nets of the women of this world, man, because that's all it is. Let me get that one. A woman's heart is all snares and nets. Yeah, this is Sirach 7:26. So I'm already here. Ecclesiastes 7:26, like yeah. So Ecclesiastes 7:26. Yeah. And Sirach 7:26. This is King Solomon himself. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but a sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, I have found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not one woman among a, but I find not one man among 1,000. Have I found one? Let me start this again, Slacker. Behold, this I have found, saith the preacher, counting one by one to find the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among those have I not found. You know, so basically, even after dealing with thousands of women, King Solomon didn't find any of them righteous. Because it's not really the woman's spirit to do that. The woman's the weaker vessel. At the end of the day, she's going to be weaker, but the woman's supposed to follow after her husband, you know, in righteousness. But that's not happening right now. But in the kingdom, us Israelites are going to be all righteous, from the highest even to the lowest. We're all going to be righteous because we're going to be in our new bodies and be able to keep the law perfectly. So I say it's just a patience game. You know, prophecies have to be fulfilled. Micah 7:10 has to come to pass. Isaiah 1:4 has to come to pass. So, you know what I mean? The Apostle Paul said, if you burn, marry. But then at the same time, you know, sometimes a little problem can lead to bigger problems, you know. So maybe if you haven't got a woman, maybe that's because the Lord is giving you a small mercy. It might not seem that way, but honestly, man, a woman can completely destroy a man's life. Even the strongest of men have been brought down by wicked women. Just look at Samson, for example. Even King David stumbled at Bathsheba, and he could have got destroyed over that, but the Lord had mercy on him, and King David repented. But, you know, it's not, you play with fire, man, you can get burnt. And the scriptures say, you know, who can take a fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? These words are written for a reason. But anyway, I've said enough. I made the point. Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great more stand up well. Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson, hopefully. And until the next lesson I do, Lord willing, I'll say Shalom.